It's an act. It's a show. It's just there. Like, yeah, aren't you happy, Mr. Driver, with your Ferrari? Look at you. You're shifting your own gears. Oh, yeah, you're a big boy. Yeah. Yeah, shift those gears. You really like shifting those gears, don't you? Yeah, oh, use that clutch pedal. Yeah, go ahead. Use that. Yeah. See, you feel like you're doing something. It is the Halloween haunted house equivalent of cars. It is the guy in the haunted house chasing you with the chainsaw, right? It's that. It's not real, though. It's all for show. There's no teeth on that chainsaw. There's no chain on that chainsaw. Half the time, the guy starts his chainsaw. It doesn't even start up. He's like, oh, hold on. That's what's happening with this, okay?
From Olympic City and the home of Pikes Peak, this is the Automotive ADHD Show with Matt West.
So how do you turn a Can-Am into a Pikes Peak Hill Climb car? Can you? Well, yes, you can. And I talked to the guy who does that exact thing. He also turns them into rally cars, too, which is pretty cool. So we will hear from him on this edition of the show. Also, in other news, drum roll here, Ferrari brings back there's our drum roll, the automatic. Wait, that can't be right. No, it is. Yeah, how does that work? I don't know. Well, we'll tell you about that and more, as well as what do you do when a raging wildfire is a mere 7 miles from your shop and you have 8 cars you need to do something with. Now, granted, you should probably evacuate, but assuming you're not doing that, what do you do? Well, I've got some personal experience here with this now. And in fact, the smoke is very heavy. And I was actually running a air filter here in the shop before doing the show today. So now, granted, I'm not in a evacuation zone yet. And hopefully it stays that way. But man, it's getting mighty close. So we will discuss all of that and more on this somewhat smoke-filled edition of the Automotive ADHD Show. Oh, and we will get to some listener-submitted car sounds. Been a little while since we've done that. I had a cool submission I want to share with you. So all of that and more is coming up on this edition of the show, which is brought to you by our friends at Chemical Guys and SpyTech GPS. I'll tell you more about them later. What you do need to know is you should buy stuff from them so that they support my show and that I can keep supporting this weird hobby that I have, which is not actually working on cars, but it's just ranting about cars on the radio and on the internet. So anyway, all of that. Great. Got a loaded show for you today. Got a loaded show for you. Before we get to that, I spent some time this week in Utah. Now, I took a road trip, in fact, to Utah. Now, this was work related. This was for that pesky day job, which pays all of my bills. And it was actually cheaper to drive to Utah and back from Colorado than it was to fly this time. Now, bear in mind, that's also including the fact that I had some equipment, some video and broadcast equipment that I had to fly with. And if you don't know, I run outside of this show, I run a video production company. Now, don't get the wrong idea with my show's video production. It's like when you have a mechanic who does mechanic stuff all day, 40 plus hours a week, and then gets home and his car's a beater. Yeah, my podcast is like the beater car of that, okay? So don't get the wrong idea here. But I have a production company, and we sometimes do some rather large productions. We bring a crew in, we film a bunch of stuff, we do events, we do podcasts, we do all of that. So anyway, but it was cheaper for me to go out to Utah via car this time. And so I took my trusty Tacoma. I say that somewhat tongue-planted in cheek because I have the Tacoma of all the cars I've owned is the one that I've had the most trouble with, ironically. If you listen to the show for a while, you know I've had lots of little nags and headaches. Nothing major, knock on wood. Like actual drivetrain-wise, the truck's been pretty solid, but a lot of various issues over the years. I've had issues with the clutch twice, actually. I've had issues with the drive shaft carrier bearing coming apart. I've had issues with, there's just a bunch of them, electrical issues with the heater. I've had issues with sensors failing. I've had all sorts of things, lots of nags with that truck. And I just had some pulleys on the front of the motor decide that they didn't like being pulleys anymore, and they started squeaking really bad. Now, that's because in Toyota's infinite wisdom, which remember, Toyota can do no wrong, except when they're teasing the new Celica and MR2 and they never actually do anything. That might break that rule. But if you're familiar with the 1GRFE 4-liter V6 platform, pulleys are a pretty common problem, in fact. They get dirt, dust, water in them, and they start to fail prematurely because Toyota didn't really use a sealed bearing design when they did those pulleys. So it's pretty common for those to have issues at actually not all that high of miles. Mine had definitely had some issues and have been chirping for a while. So before the road trip, I went ahead and replaced all of those. I was able to find good replacement bearings, good quality stuff. Got it done, got it taken care of, though I will say I priced everything out getting OEM parts. I'll usually do that. I'll price out when I work on cars, my own stuff. I'll price out getting the OEM stuff. I'll find the OEM part numbers and then go from there on finding good aftermarket alternatives. Or generally what I like to do is take those OEM part numbers and figure out who the actual supplier is for the OEM and then just order direct from them or one of their distributors. Usually you end up getting the same OEM part, but you save some money. Side note, just as a tangent, I did that with the center carrier bearing for the drive shaft. Toyota wanted like $1,000 at the dealership for that part. So I take the Toyota part number, look it up. I find out that, oh, hey, Dana Spicer actually makes the OEM part. And if I order it from Dana Spicer, or if I order it from a reseller who's selling it from them, it's actually the same part. It's literally the same part. It's like $120. Okay, so it pays to do a little bit of research when you're doing your maintenance and you're replacing stuff like that. So in the course of doing that, getting the truck ready for the trip, replacing those pulleys, I wanted to see what it would take just to be like, can I just get these OEM at the dealer and will they be cheap? Well, you already know that answer. No. Yes, you can get them OEM. No, they won't be cheap. And not only won't they be cheap, but Toyota, for example, for the idler, the tensioner pulley, the serpentine belt tensioner pulley, they won't even sell you the actual pulley itself. They will only sell you the entire tensioner and tensioner bracket as a complete unit. And they want an unholy amount of money for it. They want a serious chunk of change for it. They want like $900 for that entire assembly. And you can't just get the bearing. And now, granted, for all the pulleys, they won't even just sell you the bearing these days. Used to be you could buy just the bearing and then press out the old bearing in your old pulley and press in the new bearing. They don't even sell the bearings. They'll sell you the pulley. But for that, they wouldn't even sell you the pulley. They would sell you the whole assembly. You got to do the whole thing. Why? It's ridiculous. Anyway, you do some research. You figure out what bearings belong in there. And then you can do your homework and do this way more economically. Now, I could have also, I did some research on the bearings themselves. And when I did that, that led me down a whole rabbit hole of bearings and things and different bearing manufacturers and all of that stuff. And I found that, yes, I can find the OEM. It's a Kyoyo bearing that I can find. I can get those pretty cheap and I can press those into these pulleys. Or I can just buy an aftermarket setup where someone already did all of that work for me and do that. Now, seeing as how I was leaving for a trip, that's what I ended up doing. So, yeah, I paid a little bit of a premium. I do have a press. I can press bearings and I can do all that myself, but it was simple enough to just do a straight up swap on all of that. So, anyway, truck going to Utah, it did great. It did fantastic. I had no issues with it, which is boring. Like that makes for very boring content. Like, I do this show and I'm supposed to provide you interesting and entertaining things. And it's like, yeah, my truck did great, which actually, because of all the issues I had, I guess is sort of a surprise. I had the power steering rack fail on it recently too. I had to do that. That was fun. That was a pain. That was not fun to do. That was not fun whatsoever. So anyway, having said all of that, what I noticed out there in Moab, well, I ratted myself out there, is what I did. I was going to Salt Lake for the work trip, right? And I'm billing the client for it, which a road trip that you get to bill your client for is even better than a road trip that you pay for yourself. I did make a detour in Moab. Moab wasn't strictly work-related. I did make a little bit of a detour there, and it was very pretty. Went to Arches National Park. Didn't really get any real off-roading in, but I saw loads of off-road rigs. Everyone there has a crazy lifted Jeep with, like a tube chassis, roll cage, just everywhere. I mean, that was neat. I haven't visited Moab personally. And actually, even though I live in Colorado, the last time I had been to Utah was when I was a teenager. So it had been a while. So that was really exciting. And it got me into the road tripping sort of mood, I will say. I love a good road trip. And I would argue, and I have a colleague at my flagship radio station, AM 1460, The Answer. He does the restaurant show. I do the car show. He does the restaurant show. His name is Mike. And Mike and I were talking about road trips. And Mike made a fantastic point that you do not truly see the best parts of America if you're just staying on the interstates. If you're just driving I-70, right, east to west, yeah, it'll take you there, but you miss out on some of the most beautiful parts of the country. It's those state highways. It's even the back roads that you find truly gorgeous scenery on if you're looking for a good road trip. And that's what I did. Now, granted, I know I'm supposed to be billing the client for this. I'm going to bill them for like what the mileage was if I just took the boring route. Okay. I'm not trying to, if they're listening, I'm not trying to cheat them out of some money here. I'm going to bill them for what it would have been without my detours. Okay. But I took some really scenic detours. And you know what? Mike was right. You get on the state highways, you get on state highway. You do like, what was it? 313 in Utah. There's Highway 6. There's all these other state highways that just go through some gorgeous roads or gorgeous scenery. And I will say that Utah had very good condition roads, right? So here in Colorado, we get pretty harsh winters. Well, I thought, okay, well, Utah gets pretty harsh winters in places too. They get snow. They've got a ski season. They got all of that. But the roads, quality-wise, I don't know if they were using, the not cheapest bidder on those roadways or what, but they were great. So if you are planning any sort of road trip, whether you're going to off-road or not, maybe you want to plan a sports car road trip, man, Utah is way up there on my list now. Absolutely spectacular. Can't wait to do it again. Coming up after the break, we're talking wildfires. We're also talking Ferrari and how they think they're bringing back the manual transmission. That's all right here on Automotive ADHD. Let's get it. Oh, man, that was great. We haven't had car sounds in a while. I haven't really been advertising it, but Ethan sent that to me. Shout out to Ethan, by the way. That was his 1993 Suzuki Jimny being driven the way that it should be, on the limiter. Now, I didn't do any off-roading in Utah, frankly, while I was there. I was just telling you about that before the break, but he was doing some off-roading there in that Jimny, and he is based, by the way, you probably noticed Japanese plates on that Jimny, and if you are familiar with your Japanese plates, that was an A plate, which means that it is a K car with a U.S. service member who registered it. So you have your Y plates, which are like regular service member plates, right, for U.S. Service members there. And then you have your different plates for different areas of Japan if you're a local resident there. But the A plate, I saw that and I'm like, aha, Ethan's got to be in the military. Where's he stationed? And he said that he is stationed in Okinawa, U.S. Marine Corps. He's hanging out there. He's got a Jimny, which is a lot of fun, by the way. Those are cool. Those Jimnys are sweet. I think they're amazing. And the new Jimnys are really cool as well. Though I did get flamed on the internet for calling those K cars. And I'm like, why did I think those were K cars? I was there in Japan and just something in my brain said, yeah, K car. Well, there you go. There's a K car plate on that Jimny that he has. It's an older one, though. I get it. That's a much, much older Jimny. But Ethan, I really appreciate you sending those car sounds in. That was really cool. I got to hit you up next time I'm in Japan and do some off-roading in Japan. Because clearly I don't do it enough in my own state. I don't do it in Utah. Why would I bother with that? No, we'll do it in Japan. That makes the most sense, obviously. Now, Japan really does have a cool off-roading culture, though, I will say. They do different off-roading. They have their own trails. They got their own stuff. There's also some big off-roading tours. When I visited Toyota City, I didn't have time to do it, but Toyota had a off-road tour that you could do. You could rent a bunch of Land Cruisers, 4Runners, and things like that, Hiluxes, and go on like a Toyota guided off-roading tour, which is pretty cool. You can do that. Japan, of course, is a smaller island. It's the size of California, but it has a lot of cool stuff packed into that little bit of landmass there. So anyway, Ethan, shout out to you for sending those car sounds in. If you want to do the same thing as Ethan, which is absolutely pin it on the rev limiter. Okay, you don't have to do that. You can. I encourage you to do that. I granted, whatever repercussions come downstream for that, I'm not liable for that. That's on you. I'll tell you to do it, but I won't take the blame for it when you blow something up. Anyway, but having said that, if you want to send your car sounds into the show, you can do that. Facebook.com/automotive-ADHD. You can private message me the car sounds there. You can email me, and I say car sounds, do a video of it. This show's on video too. It's visual and auditory. It's both. And send me those car sounds. It's easy. The easy way, again, is Facebook. You can also email me, though those video clips, because it's email, have to be a little bit smaller. Matt@automotiveadhd.com. Ethan, by the way, I am going to send you a message, and I want to get a mailing address from you, and I'm going to send you some cool stuff. I'm going to send you the As Heard on the Automotive ADHD sticker that you can put on that Jimny, because it has now been on the show. Also, do I have them in my toolbox drawer here? I do. We've got the More Cars Than Friends stickers. So if you want to grab one of these, send me some car sounds, and I will trade you. I will trade you straight trade car sounds for stickers. So check that out. If you haven't seen these stickers, you're missing out. More Cars Than Friends right here. You can broadcast to the world that you have what it says. More cars than friends. So anyway, that's a classic Jim Millerism right there. So all right. Now, one of the things I want to get to here is not very off-road related, but it is Ferrari. I have to talk about Ferrari because my feed was blowing up with this. People were going, "Hey, Matt, did you see this? Did you see this? They're bringing back the manual in the Ferrari. They're bringing it back." Well, they're bringing it back, I say, in air quotes. And what I want you to take a look at here is, well, firstly, let's go ahead and check out Ferrari's fancy schmancy promotional video. They did a video here, and let's go ahead and give this a watch. Let's check it out. Here we go. There it is. I'll narrate this for the radio listeners. They're showing off some beauty shots of the car. Oh, there's a gated manual. There's a guy walking around it. Hold on. Let those car sounds breathe a bit. All right. It's showing a guy rowing his own gears. Obvious Ferrari branding in there. They have to do that every 3 or 4 shots. And anyway, neat. Well, that would lead you to believe, if you had only watched that video, that would perhaps entice you to believe that Ferrari is bringing back the manual transmission. But what that video does not tell you, one bit, is that's not a manual. Yes, he's rowing gears. He's got a shifter. He's heel towing. He's downshifting. He's got a clutch pedal. It's not a manual. It's not. It's fake. It is completely fake. Okay, so this is called the Ferrari 12-Cylindri Manuale. How's my Italian? Was it good? I could already see that. That's I see the listeners shaking their head on that, like the one guy who speaks Italian. Anyway, the 12-Cylindri Manuale. Manuel. I don't know. It's Italian for 12-cylinder manual. All right. Well, again, not a manual. All right. So what they've done, we'll switch that back over to there. What they have done is they have created an automatic transmission in which you can shift your own gears. Kind of like a lot of automatic transmissions these days. Now, what they have done, to their credit, to their engineering credit, all right, I will give them some credit here, that this is probably quite the engineering task to make this happen. I would argue that it is a completely unnecessary engineering task to make that happen. Go ahead and take a look over here if you're watching on video, YouTube, Facebook, Spotify, and more. They've got a gated manual transmission shifter with a weighted thing on here. This is like a whole module. This is an E-shifter, okay? This is not a real shifter. It is basically a video game shifter. That's the best way I can put it. You ever get the Logitech racing sim, like the cheap Logitech racing sim wheel and shifter, right? That's the same thing that's happening here. That's the exact same thing that's happening here. That's a fake shifter, all right? It looks pretty. It looks neat. Now, they say, let me see here. Where is it? Technical details. Let's click on that. Oh, this is all boring. Yes, 9,500 RPM, V12, 8-speed. 8-speed DCT right there. That's the important information here, okay? It is a dual clutch automatic, and it has what they call manually, I'm just going to keep calling it that, Manuale By-Wire control. Manual by wire. I don't know. Look, I reserve the right as an upstanding American citizen on this very 4th of July, which, by the way, if you're listening on the radio show today, that is when this show is airing. But I reserve the right to mispronounce whatever I please, however I please to do it. That is my right as an American. That is exactly the outcome that we got from winning the Revolutionary War. There was many things we got in the Revolutionary War by winning it, and that was one of them. Might not have been the main thing. Wasn't exactly the main point of it. There was other stuff, but that was important. So your drive-by-wire Manuale system, Manuale By-Wire, is exactly that. It's a fake thing. It's completely fake. Now, what they go on to say, okay, is that it has a clutch pedal, and it even will let you stall it. Yes, it will let you stall it, which it's an automatic that goes, well, if I were a manual and the driver did this, I would let the car stall. So we're going to put in fake stalls. You can fake stall the car. Why? Who is that for? Who is that for? Come on. Now, they say this offers the best of both worlds. That is the argument here, that it is the best of both worlds, the best of the manual and the best of the automatic. Is there any best of the automatic to have? I don't know. Okay, automatics have a place in this world. They do. I'm not anti-automatic, okay? They have a place in this world. The 8 HP automatic is a good transmission, right? We've had Andre from Russ EFI on the show to talk about his upcoming 8 HP transmission controller. There's a lot of reasons why you would want an automatic and why you would want something in the vein of an 8 HP, for example. Okay, there's a lot of reasons in a project car why you might want that. There's a lot of reasons in a track car why you might want that. It is faster. If you are chasing tenths of a second lap times, hundredths of a second, an 8 HP, it's a good solution. It's a great solution, right? Well, in a sports car, which this is claiming to be, right? This is not some Nürburgring lap time chasing machine. This is supposed to be an experiential machine. This falls into the same category as muscle cars. It's about the experience of this. I'm not chasing hundredth of a second lap times in this car. This is a car I want to take and cruise some absolutely spectacular, gorgeous roads and feel a connection to the car and a connection to the road. I want that experience. And that's exactly what this Ferrari is going for, okay? And this is the new flagship. It's a V12, and it's a neat looking car. I've not been, if you listen to this show often, you know I'm not a big exotic guy. All right, I'm not. The exotics just don't do it for me. They're too expensive. They don't give me, I don't even think a lot of them look all that good, frankly. I mean, yeah, your older exotics, I think, have a certain beauty to them. But these new ones, I don't know. I mean, they're striking, but I wouldn't call them beautiful. This one, though, we'll continue this thought because we're coming up on a hard news break here on the radio show. If you're on the podcast, stick with us. If you're on the radio, take a break. Catch the news. We'll be right back talking about this and wildfires. It's the Automotive ADHD show. We'll be right back. Some Pikes Peak Hill Climb noises right there. By the way, that was Robin Shute. That was him in his 2026 Sendy car. I love the name of that. It's the 2026 Sendy car. That's amazing. Anyway, by the way, he set a first place position in his division, Unlimited, the Super Unlimited class, and with a time of 8 minutes, 29 seconds. That is fast. That is really fast. And by the way, that is a new rear-wheel drive record on Pikes Peak. So congratulations to Robin Shute there. That was a great run. Also, congratulations to all of the Pikes Peak Hill Climb competitors. And if you were watching live coverage of the hill climb and you spotted Jimmy Ford, by the way, you might have spotted some Automotive ADHD branding on the back of that race car. Very proud to see that going up the mountain with Jimmy. And Jimmy, by the way, did not disappoint. He didn't disappoint one bit. I'm looking at the official results here from a couple weeks ago now. Jimmy Ford placed 8th overall and 2nd in the Pikes Peak Open class. 9 minutes and 23 seconds in his Ford Mustang. That is sweet. And plus, again, Jimmy, I think, consistently has the loudest car on the mountain. So congratulations to Jimmy Ford there. He is absolutely kicking butt every single year at the Pikes Peak Hill Climb. Really proud of the stuff that he's done. It's incredible. So anyway, we'll talk a little more Pikes Peak here coming up maybe in the next segment. I have an interview I want to play with for you from a guy who turns Can-Am UTV trail vehicles into Pikes Peak Hill Climb cars. It's pretty sweet. So we'll get a chat with him here in a little bit. But I was busy ranting about Ferrari. So before we continue the show here, I need to rant about Ferrari a little bit more because they are saying they have brought back the automatic to the Ferrari. That's what they're saying. To their Ferrari, to the Ferrari. The 2027 Ferrari 12-Cylindri Manuale. You have to do that thing where you hold your hand when you're saying Italian stuff. Got to do it like that. Anyway, so they say that they've brought the manual back. And frankly, I think when I have observed the reactions to this on the internet, I've scoured comment sections of things, nobody likes this thing. Nobody likes it. Why? Because it's fake. They didn't bring back the manual. They brought back the automatic, and it never really went anywhere. This is no different than a paddle shift automatic, other than the fact that instead of little video game controllers here, you got another little video game controller over here. That's it. That's the difference. Oh, but Matt, it's got a clutch pedal and it lets you stall it. Yes, it's all fake though. It is completely fabricated. It is like, okay. It's like if you go to, I'll put it like this. Here's an analogy I'm thinking of. Okay. Right. So you have around Halloween, you have haunted houses, right? You go to a haunted house as an entertainment thing. You go there and you go there to be scared, but you also know that it's not real. The guy chasing you with the chainsaw isn't really going to hurt you. It's all fake. It's all for show. Those are actors. The jump scares, to me, that's the only thing that kind of scares me about haunted houses, right? Like, I'm thinking about it too realistically to be scared. It's like, dude jumps out with the chainsaw, rah, and he's got the chainsaw. I'm like, oh, yeah, that's cool. Nice. Is that a steel saw he's using? Oh, okay, cool. All right. So that's what I'm doing. The only thing that's spooky is like the jump scares, just because you're not expecting it. It's just the startle factor, right? That's at least for me with haunted houses. I don't find them all that engaging or entertaining. This is the haunted house equivalent of manual transmissions. It's an act. It's a show. It's just there. Like, yeah, aren't you happy, Mr. Driver, with your Ferrari? Look at you. You're shifting your own gears. Oh, yeah, you're a big boy. Yeah. Yeah, shift those gears. You really like shifting those gears, don't you? Yeah, oh, use that clutch pedal. Yeah, go ahead. Use that. Yeah. See, you feel like you're doing something. It's that same thing. The Ferrari Le Manuale, whatever it's called, is the Halloween haunted house equivalent of cars. It is the guy in the haunted house chasing you with the chainsaw, right? It's that. It's not real though. It's all for show. There's no teeth on that chainsaw. There's no chain on that chainsaw. Half the time the guy starts his chainsaw, it doesn't even start up. He's like, "Oh, hold on." That's what's happening with this, okay? Now, someone's going to say, "Yeah, but Matt, by your analogy, would you rather the real manual be the actual crazy psychopathic chainsaw murderer actually chasing you out for your blood?" Yeah, I would rather that. That's what I want. I want, when I have a sports car, okay? This is the same thing as the fake EV noises that the Dodge Charger came out, the EV that they came out with a year and a half, 2 years ago now. They debuted it with the fake EV noises. Nobody likes that. They go, "Well, yeah, but it's the experience." They're using the same argument I'm using, right? I want the experience, right? Okay, well, here's an experience. Well, the problem is it's a fake experience. It's fabricated. It's not real. It's the illusion of having control. It's the illusion that you're doing something significant when you really aren't. Okay? It's exactly that. And this manual, this automatic, I'm not going to call it a manual, this fabricated manual, this fake manual, this automatic with a Logitech gear shifter, again, I'm sure there was cool engineering that went into it. The journalists who got their hands on this recently, they said that it feels like a real manual. Like if you get behind the driver's seat, you really can't tell. You can't tell. Not only that, the shifter even feels good. Okay, I get that. There was some real engineering prowess that went into making that happen. But it didn't need to happen. Because you know what they could have done? Is they could have taken that engineering prowess and just built a real manual. Just build the real thing. All the effort going into this to fabricate the fake thing, the experience. This is the auto rev matching feature on your car turned up to 11. That's what it is. Okay, that's a rant I have to get into at some point. Maybe not here, maybe not today. We got hill climb stuff. There's a wildfire coming in 7 miles from my shop. I probably shouldn't be sitting here talking about this, but I am. But it's fake, and no one wants the fake stuff. No one does. And you might say, someone's going to argue that, well, Matt, but supercar buyers, they're not the real enthusiasts here. I get that. They're not. They want the fake experience. They don't care that it's fake. Yeah, I get that. I agree with you on that. And they won't know the difference. And they want the convenience. Yes, and that's why supercar buyers are also wrong. That's why they're all wrong. Part of why I'm not really a supercar guy. It's all fake. It's not I'm not a fan of it. I'm just not a fan of it. And if you listen to this show, chances are you're probably not a humongous fan of it either. I think the cars, again, they're striking. They're interesting to look at. They're very rare. It's cool when you get to see one. I nerd out a little bit when I get to see one. I saw a Koenigsegg, not too long ago, just driving down the freeway. And I'm like, whoa, that was a Koenigsegg. Cool. Right? But it doesn't really go any deeper than that. For me, at least. Okay? It doesn't, because it all feels so fake. It feels so artificial. It's rich people trying to flex on other rich people who also have the same type of money and the same type of cars. And it's all about this appearance. Is this perhaps what Ferrari is doing to market the manual transmission, air quotes, to the social media generation, the people who want to post Instagram reels about driving their manual Ferrari? Is that what it's is that who's this for? I don't know. But I think all the money they spent engineering this, you could have just had a manual. And people will say, yeah, but the benefit to this is you can turn it back into automatic mode and just cruise through traffic. Okay, So just don't drive a sports car then through traffic. Like if you're going to have a special car, right? You're not buying this Ferrari V12 Cilindiri Manuale. You're not buying this as your only car. You're not buying this to go commute in LA traffic with it. That's not the point. You have something else for that. You buy this because it's a special car. You take it out on the weekend. You go do the twisty back roads in it. And yeah, you know what? Some of the experience, the unpleasant part of owning a manual, the traffic, doing all that, that's still kind of part of the experience. You're toughing it out. As a crazy rich person with all this kind of money, you should kind of be wanting that appearance of, yeah, I'm toughing it out. I'm driving this manual through traffic here, that I spent a huge amount of money on, that I spent like 5 houses worth of money on. So by the way, if you're curious, where is it here? Where's our price on there? The SF90, where's this here? Employs the same, it's the same transmission from the SF90 Stradale, and the price for this thing is pretty steep. So you can't just buy one outright. You can't just buy it off the showroom floor. You have to get it through Ferrari's custom program. So that already means that it's quite expensive, and pricing will start at 590,000 euros, which, let me get that into a unit of measurement that actually makes sense. Because let's see here, 590,000 euro to USD. What is it? What is it here? I don't have this stuff. Oh, it's 500. Oh, that's hold on here. Hold on. We were converting USD to USD. I'm smart. I got math here. I went to public school. All right, $675,131 US dollars. That's the starting price, if you can get one for a fake manual. I mean, you could get an old Ferrari and you could genuinely manual swap it for much less than that, and it would be the real deal. Be an actual gated shifter manual transmission. All right, I'll stop ranting about it, but I do want your thoughts. You do need to let me know exactly your thoughts on the V12 Cilindiri Manuale. And let me know how to pronounce that. Actually, wrong pronunciations only. I only want wrong ones. So give me how you think it should be pronounced. So anyway, hey, before we go to the break, I do want to tell you about one of the show's sponsors, Chemical Guys. I am a fan of Chemical Guys because they not only make cool products that keep your car clean, they make cool products that keep your car clean, and they support this show, which is also double cool. If you need to keep your car clean, they've got washes, soaps, waxes, they've got interior detailer, wheel cleaner, tons of stuff. I personally like the bucket, which I don't have it handy right now that I'm doing the show, but I like the bucket because it gives you everything you need to start with, and they're fantastic products. So if you want to support the show, also keep your car clean while you're at it, that's a cool trade-off, right? Check out Chemical Guys. Use the QR code on screen, or if you're listening on the podcast, check it out in the description below. After the break, we're talking wildfires and hill climb cars. That's all coming up here.
He brushes his teeth with 5W30. Matt West is on Automotive ADHD.
So at the top of the show, I talked a little bit about how do you turn a Can-Am, like off-road, like a UTV type thing, into a competition Pikes Peak Hill Climb car. Well, I talked to just the guy who is doing that at the Pikes Peak Hill Climb Fan Fest, and this was just a little bit before the race, but I want to share this interview with you now. This was really cool, and go ahead and check this out. So if you've ever had a Can-Am or looked at one, you probably didn't think racing Pikes Peak is something you could do with one of them. And this type of racing is incredible. I've got John Annunziata here with Stryker. And John, so these cars start out life as a Can-Am, but they become so much more than that. Tell me a little bit about this, because this is nuts.
Absolutely. So we knew that Can-Am with the Maverick R had a really, really great package. But what we thought is, you know what, we can do it and make it even better. So what we did is, as the basis and the foundation, took the Maverick R, but then went ahead and built our own custom chassis that's USAC approved, so it's got to be safe. And then said, you know what, there's huge potential in it. We could throw on a compound turbo. We can do our own springs on our own suspension using the same geometry and use that for the greatest challenge there is in motorsport is right here at Pikes Peak.
Yes, Pikes Peak is absolutely the greatest challenge in motorsports. And I think this is an interesting platform because, I mean, you obviously have a lot more suspension travel with one of these, and that is very important when it comes to the peak and the undulations in the tarmac and all of that. What got you thinking, though, when you were looking at a Can-Am Pikes Peak car? Well, what was the impetus for that idea?
So it's got a 3-cylinder Rotax engine, which has huge potential.
Okay.
We're pushing 450 horsepower out of a 3-cylinder engine here. A compound turbo that allows us to be able to be more efficient at this high altitude. And then it's got a 7-speed DCT. So it's got a real transmission in it, which then can carry all of the horsepower that we're pushing.
Okay, gotcha. So I mean, it's not something you would typically think about, but once you started looking at the specs, sort of a no-brainer at that point,
Absolutely,
right?
yeah.
I love that. Now, this one that you've got configured, people are loving this thing right here. This one's configured as a Pikes Peak Hill Climb car. It's got aero, you've got slicks on this, but over there, and we'll get some B-roll shots of it spliced into this, but over there you've got a rally car version as well, which kind of demonstrates the flexibility of this platform. Tell me about that.
Yeah. So again, you know, typical of the Can-Am Maverick, it was first designed for dirt. But we thought, you know, you can take this to the road. Let me also mention that you can take one of these home because we're putting them into production for Stryker.
Okay.
So you can buy this car as it is, or we can customize it to your needs. But always in the back of our mind, we thought, you know what? That car does really well on flat out speed. What would be perfect for that is rally. And so we have combined with the American Rally Association to create our own spec series. It's going to call the Stryker Challenge.
Okay. So there's going to be a bunch of these racing in rally, which is very cool. Now, do you guys build these in-house?
In-house in Salt Lake City, in our own shop.
Salt Lake City, in-house. You got to love that. Now, tell me a little bit, too, because you've also got another car here that's not quite a Can-Am, and that's your personal race car. And you're racing Pikes Peak. Did I mention he's not just with Stryker, he's a driver at the Pikes Peak Hill Climb here? John, tell me about that.
So, you know, any good automobile company or motorsports company, really the foundation is racing. So I am a road racer from my history. My partner, Cole Powelson, has done Pikes Peak 11 times and is a phenomenal racer, and he does both street and road racing as well as dirt. So we thought the next evolution would this be into the rally. But I came here last year for my first time as the co-partners of Stryker and saw everyone having fun and thought, you know, that's something I got to do. And so I decided to sign up. So I am a rookie at this late stage of my life.
That is incredible. You just rolled out of bed one day and said, you know what, it's Pikes Peak or bust.
These guys are having way too much fun. I got to try it.
That is awesome. Now, as a driver, as especially a rookie driver, I've talked to a few rookies out here, and one of the pieces of advice that they always get is like, hey, don't worry about being fast, just finish this year. How's that been for you? How's the course been for you?
So, somebody who's a racer deep down, is the hardest thing is to dial it back. But you know what? 156 turns is a lot to remember. And there's some scary parts up there. So yeah, I'm taking my own advice and coming home in one piece and just trying to get to the top.
Get there in one piece. That's the goal. And now, have there been anything as a rookie, anything that surprised you with the hill climb? I know, like, you probably talked to a lot of people, a lot of other drivers. You got a really good scope of that. Was there anything that you really weren't expecting going into it?
You know, when you watch videos and you see people talk about it, you think, okay, it's a road and you can drive on it. It's just a completely different animal. When you get out there driving that fast on a public road, it is way narrower than it looks on any kind of video I've ever seen. The turns come at you a whole lot faster. And then what it does to your body and the altitude change, starting at 9,000 and ending up at 14,000, it is punishing.
It's not just hard on the motors doing that.
It's hard on your body, too.
Hard on the driver, too. Wow. Well, John, I think you've got an incredible product here. It's cool to see this out at the hill climb, by the way. And I think it'll be really cool to see more of these as you guys are doing full production on that. And I think it's also fascinating, too, that you're building these Can-Am based race cars, but of course you're a race car driver yourself. I mean, that's something to it there. Like, it gives you a little bit of credit. You know what you're talking about with race cars.
Sure.
So now, John, one other thing that I've been asking all the hill climb drivers out here, what's the daily driver in the garage?
So it's kind of like a little rally car. So I have a Ford Focus RS.
Oh, okay.
Which is a lot of fun, a little pocket rocket.
Okay, Ford Focus RS. Any mods on that one?
That one I kept stock. We're keeping all the mods for the Strikers.
Yeah, that's fair. You got to have like one reliable, like daily driver. You don't want to like boost it to the moon, right?
Exactly.
That's awesome. All right, so we got one in the bucket for Ford Focus. We've had a Dodge Ram as well, so we got a couple of those in there. So, John, I want to thank you for joining me here. I appreciate it. I wish you best of luck on the hill. That's going to be a fun race, and hope you have a safe drive up to the top.
Good, thank you.
Now, if you're wondering what time he set, John, by the way, he understood the assignment. He said, okay, I'm not supposed to win the race, but he's like, I'm not going to be last either, because he did a very nice job of getting 49th overall, 8th in his class, in the unlimited, super unlimited class. And that was in his 2025 Wolf Extreme. That's his personal race car. Now, if you're wondering how one of the Strikers does on the hill climb, well, lucky for us, there was someone driving one. We've got Cole Powelson. He's 19th overall. He got, here it is, 3rd in his class, the unlimited production-based class, with a time of 10 minutes and 18 seconds, which is a very fast time. And who would have thought that a Can-Am would make such a good race car? I think that proves it right there. That proves that that platform has a lot of potential. So very good to see that. Now, one thing I want to get to here before we wrap the show, and I really wasn't sure if I wanted to dedicate a whole segment to it because I'm not exactly sure how it's going to turn out. We'll have to wait and see. But if you have followed this show for a while, you know that I have spent some time building an off-grid shop up in Custer County. Now, yes, the show is broadcast out of Colorado Springs every single weekend. Through the magic of technology, we've got a Starlink dish on the shop. I can do live radio from the shop in Custer County and broadcast that into Colorado Springs. It's pretty neat. But if you also are local, you know, Custer County, you've been hearing that in the news because the Aspen Acres wildfire is the 8th largest wildfire in Colorado overall, and definitely the largest we've had this year. And it is getting uncomfortably close to where my shop is. Now, I'm not in a pre-evacuation stage yet. If the winds change direction, currently they're blowing away from me, that could change. So it's one of those situations where it's like not quite panic mode yet. But if you are watching on video here, I do have a map of it right here. And so you can see this bigger red area on the map. That's the evacuation zone. This other red area, this darker red area, that's the current fire zone. All right. And that's burning pretty aggressively. 0% containment. So far, it's done 86,000 acres. And that is constantly counting up. I mean, you check the news every 5 minutes and that acreage count has gone up. Now, for scale, for reference, I am right over here if you're watching on video, right here. So as the crow flies, I'm not terribly far from the evacuation zone, but the actual fire itself, measured that out on the map, as the crow flies, I'm about 7 miles away from the actual fire line. Again, thankfully, at the moment, the wind is blowing the other direction. So that fire line's there, but it hasn't moved too much. That said, it's one of those cases where that could change at any time. So I have to start planning is what I have to do. I have to start planning ahead. I've got 8 cars here at the shop. Not all of them are runnable and drivable. And so I'm starting to get stuff ready because once you get the evacuation notice, it's kind of a little too late to get ready, right? Like maybe if you've got your personal belongings in one car, but I want to try to save all the cars if that happens. And one of the things I'm doing, and people overlook this a lot when it comes to disaster scenarios, is insurance. Insurance. Like a lot of people don't double check their insurance before something like this happens. Now, the good thing with a wildfire is generally you can see it coming, and it's of all the disasters, yes, they can move quick, but it's not like a, earthquake that just comes out of nowhere. You have some advance notice generally that this is on its way. It's going to be happening. So I got online, I double checked the coverage on all the cars, because who knows, sometimes, you get a new credit card, you forget to update it, the auto pay doesn't do its thing, and then surprise, you weren't covered when you thought you were. Also, I got the Century, which you have seen. I haven't formally introduced it here on the show, but it's a Toyota Century, and it's sitting here in the shop. It's been in the background for a little bit. I just got a policy through Haggerty on it just to make sure it was covered as well. So that is a big thing in being prepared when something like this happens. Now, the goal is to not need any of the insurance. Actually, well, the goal is to not have the fire come through here. The second goal is, if it does, to not have the cars here. And in order to do that, I got to get stuff running and driving and moving. So like the Jeep, I'm doing a rear diff locker install on that. I got to get my hands dirty this afternoon, finish that project, get it moving. The good news is a lot of the other cars do move under their own power. The Subaru, the red one's fine. The S2000 is off-site already. I got that to a storage unit out of town. The 86, that one's going to be a little challenging because it doesn't have a drive shaft. So that's going to have to go on a trailer. I'm going to get that staged and at least ready to go. Fingers crossed, this time next week when you tune into the show, I will say, yep, nothing happened. I got prepared, but nothing happened. And that's the best case scenario. You would rather be prepared and not need it than, have to try to prepare last minute. So anyway, hey, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Stay tuned on my social media. I'll post some stuff and some updates from the fire as well. Talk to you next week right here.